All right, YouTube was good. Today I'm going to be talking about how I got to Tbilisi. Now, I would like to start by saying a lot of people do come here through an agency, and if you were to ask me, I would recommend that you do come here through an agency just because there is less risks in coming here through an agency. However, I didn't come here through an agency, and I'm going to be talking about how I came here. So, so the first and the most important step is finding a school. Now, how I found my school was I went on MedConnect, which is an agency, and I looked up all the schools that it had listed out as an option to apply to, and I just searched them up on their own without having to go through MedConnect. What you can do, you can do the same, which is you can go on the MedConnect website or you can use Reddit, which is really good because you can hear what the students in the school actually think about it. Then you can also use Google search, but I use the MedConnect website. Once you found a school, the next thing you want to do is go on the school's website. Now, if you find a school on MedConnect or something, my school's called Alte, and when I found it, I just looked up Alte in Tbilisi. Now, be careful because there are scammers out there. So, what you want to look out for is that most Georgian schools should end in a .edu.ge, so .edu.ge, and then it should look like a proper website. And when you find the website, you can see when they're taking applications and when they're not taking applications, and then you can apply either through the portals or fill an application form or do whatever you have to do. But the application process is pretty easy. You just have to find a school and just apply. So the next step is when they get back to you. Now, when they get back to you, what you want to do is be very proactive. So you want to reply as quickly as possible. This is because in Georgia, they're not as organized as, say, the UK. And so they can ask for documents and need it in about 2 days because they don't really close the portals very early, and the portals could be left maybe till like 2 weeks before school actually starts. And so if you apply late, it's still be possible to get in. You just have to be very proactive. And the documents that you need, you don't really need a lot of documents. So there is the passport and like your results, so your A level grades or whatever your highest form of education before university is, depending on the country you're in. You need those grades. And then if you're not from the UK or not an English speaking country, you would most likely need to take a English proficiency test. And the interview process is actually pretty simple. So it's just like a Q&As, nothing compared to interviews at like UK medical schools or anything. They just ask you about, oh, why do you want to be a doctor? Just simple questions, and I don't think they're expecting very high level answers. I don't know if that makes sense. So the interview is quite simple. You wouldn't fail the interview. I've not heard of anyone that's failed the interview, so that's pretty simple. So you will be fine preparing for all these processes by yourself without an agency telling you, oh, you have to do this or you have to do that, because it's actually a very easy process and you can figure it out by yourself. And you need to pay tuition fees. Now, these are very important because you don't want to send money to the wrong people. So what you want to do here is you want to scam check. And the way I scam check was by calling the school, and they picked up and they spoke to me, and that way I was able to confirm that they were actually the real school. You can also scam check by looking at the emails. You can cross reference with AI, I'm pretty sure, which was one of the steps I did as well. But yeah, this is where it gets risky because you do have to pay your tuition fees. And so you have to be very careful here. For other things like booking your flights, accommodation, and all of that, those aren't that hard to find. You can book your flight yourself, anyone can book a flight. For accommodation, what I did was go on certain websites which I found off Reddit for housing in the area. And then instead of finding a house or like an apartment, I found an agent. And I would just text these agents because they have their WhatsApp numbers in the thing on the website. So you can just text these agents and then they have more options than the website actually has. And then you can find your place. I'm currently shooting in my place, and that's how I found it. And obviously, you wouldn't want to rent a place without taking a look. So what I did was I go on Airbnb for the first week that I was here, and then I went out to look at the places that I had settled on with the agents, and that's how I found my place. The major downside of this whole process of applying by yourself, like I said at the beginning, is that you have to be very wary of scammers. And if you think, oh, this is a risk that I'm willing to take, then yeah, I think then it's worth it because you wouldn't have to pay 2,000 plus to an agency. Instead, you can just keep that money and use it for, say, that money could go towards accommodation and flights and other stuff. And so, yeah, I don't know what else I'm missing. Comment any questions you have down below, and I'll be sure to answer them. If I don't in the comment section, then I will make a video about the answers. Okay, guys, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching.